Like and subscribe right now, or you're gonna have terrible luck for the next week. At what point does a cute and cuddly pet dog, cat, or camel cease being the cute and cuddly buddy whose company you've always enjoyed? So no matter how misbehaved or temperamental their pet child would turn out to be, these pet owners would not think of them as being a danger or a threat to their lives. Quite a dangerous position to be taking, especially for one keeping exotic pets. Worst case scenario, these dangerous exotic pets end up killing and eating their owners. Number 10. Travis the chimpanzee. What do you do when your enraged 200-pound chimp savagely attacks, mauls, and bites off your best friend's face? I'd like to believe that Travis was a good pet chimpanzee all along, and that the owner, Sandra Harold, knew that she had created a special bond with the exotic animal. The two would even appear several times on TV and talk shows to prove just how incredible chimpanzees are and how easy it is for them to relate to us humans, and vice versa. However, the chimp-man friendship turned bitter one day when Travis would not listen to any of his owner's commands and instead chose to behave wildly. So when the owner, Sandra Harold, called her friend to help her with the aggressive chimp situation, the two ladies shortly found themselves at the receiving end of a chimp that had turned savage. The attacking chimp even bit off her owner's friend's face. The police and medics arrived at a bloody scene, and Travis had to be shot dead to end his vicious rampage. Number 9. Pet camel. On her birthday, 60-year-old Pam Weaver, an Australian exotic pet owner, was gifted a 330-pound camel for a pet to add to her collection of cattle, sheep, and other camels on her property. She was excited for the gift camel, and apparently the pet camel was excited as well. It turned out later that the camel was excited sexually. The 10-month-old Randy camel turned to its owner to try its luck there, which Pam Weaver found to be quite odd. And when she tried to fight off the pet camel, it responded even more aggressively, knocking her over, biting her several times as she lay on the ground, and finally straddling her until she ran out of oxygen and died. Number 8. Red stag deer. Gerald Rushton kept his 500-pound red stag deer pet in a pen in his backyard, and everything seemed to be going okay, save for a few moments when he startled his exotic pet and it nearly jabbed him with its sharp, branched antlers. It trampled and gored the Texan farmer to death, leaving a bloody scene for the game wardens and police to clean up. Number 7. Nile monitor lizard. An exotic lizard lover from Delaware was found dead in his apartment, and the neighbors were shocked when they heard that the Nile monitor lizards he had been collecting feasted on him from the time of his death until discovery. It was his colleagues and neighbors that alerted the authorities after the Delaware lizard collector, Ronald Huff, had gone missing for some days. And when the police checked his apartment, they found Huff lying lifeless on the floor with his pet lizards feasting on his body. Investigators were not able to determine whether the lizards were responsible for Ronald Huff's death. But judging by the aggressiveness of the monitor lizards at the time the police were going in, it's likely that they had something to do with their owner's death. Number 6. Humphrey the hippo. Why would you want a hippo for a pet? Well, for one South African, a former army major, hippos were just the most misunderstood animals on the planet. He believed that the 5-month-old pet hippo he had rescued and raised into a hunk of a 1.2-ton bull hippo would never harm him in any way. In fact, he believed that his pet hippo, which he named Humphrey, looked at him as being his dad, and he reciprocated by treating Humphrey as his beloved son. One day, however, Humphrey was acting up and had already caused a lot of damage on the property in Free State, South Africa, where the veteran also kept several other animals, including cows. Long story short, that same day, Humphrey killed several calves, nearly devoured an entire farm of different crops, and the peak of his outrage saw him ending his dad's life. Number 5. Teddy the black bear. The Walls family, having raised their exotic pet black bear called Teddy since she was a cub, seem to have forgotten just how violent and dangerous these beasts in the wild can get. One Miss Kelly Ann Walsh, however, learned the hard way when Teddy the bear attacked her as she was cleaning out her cage. Apparently, the 37-year-old Allentown, Pennsylvania resident forgot to transfer and lock their pet bear in its secondary cage. The otherwise cute and cuddly, friendly black bear must have thought it was feeding time, and when the anticipated meal was not forthcoming, it decided to help itself to whatever snack that was available at the time. The owner. The neighbor's children had been playing out that day when they witnessed the attack. They went to call their dad, who shot the black bear dead. Unfortunately, it was too late for the owner. Number 4. SIMBA the African lion. This was a large 500-pound African lion raised as a pet in a small zoo situated in a farm in Illinois called Cougar Bluff Enterprise, owned by a 52-year-old Al Abel and his wife Kathy. The couple were experienced animal handlers, and they've always known all too well how much a small mistake when handling their big cat could prove to be fatal. As such, they've always been careful around Simba's cage, more so during feeding and cleaning times. One day, however, Abel forgot to put Simba in his secondary enclosure before proceeding to clean his cage, a mistake that would cost him his life. Apparently, Simba attacked and bit a massive chunk of flesh off Abel's leg, resulting in his ultimate demise. His wife only became aware of the attack when she couldn't find her husband in the house after she had returned, and then later saw their pet lion roaming free about the separate enclosures. Number 3. Buster the Bull Terrier. I don't want to imagine that my dog would even think of hurting me or my family, let alone eat us. But when you hear the stories out there of dogs attacking their masters, you can never be too careful. Although this is a slightly different picture from the one I just painted right now, a resident in Liverpool was found dead in his apartment, and his dog had been feasting on him for days. Apparently, the poor fellow's colleagues grew concerned after he'd failed to show up to work for several days, and attempts to reach him through his cell were futile. They contacted the police, who investigated the matter and later found the guy's corpse in his home, and his dog, which was in a frantic state at the time, had eaten a good deal of flesh from his owner's corpse for a few days.
Now it's time for today's best pick.
This picture was sent to us by a subscriber just like you. It shows the image of a large snake with an obviously bloated stomach, a clear indication that it had just snacked on something, or someone. Number 2. GYPSY the Burmese python. A couple in Florida, Jaron Hare and Charles Darnell, lived with their 2-year-old daughter, as well as a pet Burmese python named GYPSY. The pet snake was always docile and would always be minding its business mostly. Because of this, the Hares decided to house GYPSY in a cage covered only by a quilt, and as such, the pet snake would move about the house any way it liked. One day, however, the Floridian couple would come to regret ever keeping a pet python and not feeding it in the right portions as it grew. Being underfed, and sometimes being left to starve even, GYPSY resorted to make a meal of the Hare's 2-year-old daughter. The pet snake was found wrapped around the poor toddler, who was long dead. Animal experts believe that the snake hadn't been fed for a month, as it was severely underweight when it tried to eat the girl.
Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell, and you will get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it, it really works.
Number 1. Bettina the Black Widow Spider. Mark Vogel, a 30-year-old German animal collector keeping an army of exotic pets in his apartment, was discovered dead in 2004, and it was immediately clear that the animal that ended his life was a spider. Of his pet spider collection, he dared not mess with his favorite and most dangerous one, a black widow spider he named Bettina. Unfortunately for Mr. Vogel, his worst fears were realized when Bettina somehow managed to crawl out of her tank, leading an army of the creepy crawlies we mentioned earlier. The spider is believed to have bitten its owner, injecting a dangerous dose of venom which left him paralyzed and unable to call help. Then came in the rest of the creepy crawlies, each wanting a taste of their owner. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. If you enjoyed, be sure to smash the like icon and leave a comment. Your engagement is what keeps our curiosity going. We have lots of fantastic videos that you will enjoy. You can start by checking out the 2 already showing up on your screen right now. keep it 100.